At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. As you know on the channel, I've been doing a lot of top 5 lists, DC Comics, DC Series, Marvel Comics, Indie Comics. People have, requested a bottom 5. What are the worst comic series of the year? I didn't want to do a whole bunch of them, but there is going to be this one video, and I want to warn everybody, this video is not going to be for the faint of heart. If you're easily offended, this is not the video for you. If you don't like choice adult words, you're probably just going to want to stop, walk away from the computer, and not enjoy this video with me and my good friend, the retail aficionado, the curmudgeon of Thinking Critical.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I've got my list. God, I want you to know how hard this was to put together because there's so much crap.
There is a ton of bad stuff, but me personally, I am more of a DC fan, so I had to hold off the urge to make my entire top 5 a DC Comics list, but we're going to talk about yours first. I'm assuming there's going to be some overlap, and if we have time at the end, we'll talk about some of the extra ones that I have, but this should be fun. You are a salty bastard. I'm a salty bastard.
Yes.
Now let's talk about some dog shit comics.
All right. Okay, because I could have filled this top 5 with just DC, and I didn't want to do that. Because that's just it's too easy. It's low hanging fruit. It's like, okay, well, I just these top 5 DC, bottom 5 DC, and they all suck, and you'll buy them. But first of all, my dishonorable mentions. These are the ones that are so awful that they should be on the list, but I kind of prioritize the list by the impact that these awful titles had, not just on the title, but on characters in the long term and the labels associated with with their comics. How these are comics that are so bad that they're actually, to use a word that I don't like to use very much, toxic to the brands and the characters that they represent. Okay, so let's start off. These are the bottom 5 dishonorable mentions. Start this out with the Wonder Twins. Oh God. That was so painful.
The space orgy at school.
My God, it was so bad.
Mark Russell is the drizzling shits of comic writers.
It is. And I tell you, this is supposed to be a comic for kids.
It's not.
And it was billed as a comic for kids. And I guess that kids, normally have orgies in school. This is pretty common, I guess. Maybe in Brooklyn, I don't know. Maybe New York, California. San Fran, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe that's
it's not important enough to make our big list.
It's not. It's awful. But it's Goddess Mode. Not bad. Oh God, Zoe Quinn and her terrible book that was so bad I had people hate buying it. Just so they could say that they bought it and tore it up. That's pretty bad. That's terrible. Number 3 on the dishonorable list, Female Furies. Jesus.
Cecil Castellucci, please leave comics for good.
Oh God, that was so bad. It was so bad I cringed through the first half of the book, and then just put it back on the wall, and I've not touched it again. The only independent that's in this list, Man-Eaters, or Man-Haters, is so bad. It was literally, it had a tampon.
The tampon police officer is my favorite part of the thing. The one thing I will say about Man-Eaters, I do agree that it is a bad comic book, but I think it's self-aware. I think Chelsea Kane was actually kind of going for that. So I found a chuckle or two in it once I got over the initial premise and how crappy it was, and I was able to laugh at that one at least.
Yeah. So it was bad. It was written bad. I think it was scripted badly. There had moments, so that's why it didn't reach into the bottom 5. Captain Marvel.
Which
oh
one?
dear God,
Like,
the latest number one. Oh God, and in the Life of Captain Marvel is, but it's Captain Marvel. It's typically bad. It gets relaunched once or twice a year. People are used to it being bad. So
mm,
it's not, it's horrendous. It's awful. It's a train wreck, but it does not, it's horrible, but it's not bad enough to reach our bottom 5. So
not important enough. No one cares
not
about Captain
important
Marvel.
enough, does not cause enough destruction. So here it is, the bottom 5. At number 5, we have Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, the woke, god awful AI rights. Oh, aneurysm. I'm feeling it.
Let's make the coolest guy like in the Marvel universe, the most cocksure and self-assured guy. Make him subservient to every female character in there, and make it a family book where he's always asking for permission from all of the female characters, including the robot.
Yes, the
Oh
biggest, one of the most manly men in the Marvel universe, pussy hound. Turn him into a complete,
beta male.
Oh, cuck. He is just a cuck. And I don't like using that word because it's overused, but he's the cuck now. And it's awful. It's terrible. It actually damages Tony Stark, the MCU darling. It damages the Marvel universe. It sets back Tony Stark as a character. The plots were nonsensical. His brother was actually more of a man than he is, and I don't even like him, but he's still a better Iron Man than Tony Stark.
Can we deport Dan Slott to North Korea?
I think that China or North Korea,
somewhere where they'll put that man to work on something other than writing comic books. He is the worst. Well, he's not the worst, but he's pretty damn bad.
That's why this is number 5.
Tony Stark Iron Man totally sucks ass.
It sucks ass in ways that Tony Stark should never suck ass. Oh God, it's just, and if any other year, here's what's so interesting about this, and I wrote this down as a note. Any other year, this would be the worst comic of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It really would, because it was that horrendous. The artwork was totally uninspired, vanilla models, using 3D models for 80% of the artwork. The rest of it is like just this vanilla, dry, lifeless shit. And but it
gets worse, people.
It gets worse. It gets much worse, because number 4, we have the Age of X-Men.
See, this is on my list. I've got Leah Williams' Age of X-Men Extremist. Probably the worst comic of the entire year, but it wouldn't be my number 1 because it wasn't important enough, but it was an X-Men comic. It was an event, but it was an event nobody read and no one cared about. But oh my goodness, Leah Williams' Extremist shipper book of Blob and Psylocke. Oh my goodness. You have to read it to believe it, just how bad it is. The dialogue is terrible. There's weird pictures of people trying to touch fingertips because they're no longer allowed to love each other.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is complete dog shit. It is
Marvel wokeness at its worst. Squirrel Girl at least has, like what you mentioned before, Squirrel Girl has moments of self-awareness. It knows how woke it is. It knows
that X-Men, it's for girls.
It's for girls, and it's intended for tweens, for tween girls. If you're going into reading Squirrel Girl, you know what you're getting yourself into. But if you pick up an X-Men comic and you were to buy this comic, it would sour you on the entire brand. All the wonderful work that Jonathan Hickman did over this year with House of X, Powers of 10, beautiful work. One of the best comics, combined together. I combine them together as one of the best comics of the year. If I would had read the Age of X-Men it would have probably damaged my opinion of the X-Men if I've just come into
Oh yeah,
comics.
the introduction to X-Men, like that's an outroduction. You
Yeah.
come in for 5 pages and you say, I like the movies, but apparently I don't like the comics. Get me the hell out of here. How does Jordan White still have a damn job? Take your Luke ukulele, turn that sumbitch sideways, and shove it straight up your ass. Why are you in comics?
Exactly. These are the two. Those are the two comics that gave, in my opinion, Marvel the 2 worst black eyes of the year. I mean, you tore down Tony, you tore down the X-Men. You know, Spider-Man. Okay, this crap was friend of the neighborhood Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it's a tertiary title. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's more stupidity from down under. But you know. DC, on the other hand.
I'm with you, man.
Bottom 3. Here it is. Bottom 3. And this tells you how bad the worst 2 are if this is number 3. Heroes in Crisis.
Oh, see, yeah, we're on the same wavelength. That's also my number 3. Heroes in Crisis is the most beautifully illustrated, terrible comic I've ever seen in my life.
It is beautiful. And that's what the most heart-wrenching thing about all this is it is such a pretty book.
Such a waste.
So well illustrated. It was like, you know, I'm going to, you know, use garnish and beautifully present a 1-pound turd. Yeah, I'm going to take a dump on this beautiful silver tray and garnish it and give it to you, you know, and enjoy it. Bon appetit.
The worst
Wally West is a murderer now.
It was announced as like a 5 or 6-part miniseries, and they just added 3 issues to it. And when you read it, you're like, oh, this is one of the filler issues. They actually threw filler into their enormous pile of dog shit. And it was like one of the worst reading experiences of my life. I remember I watched Ash's review of the very first one. He's like, oh, this is really good. And I was like, I do not know what he's going to come around. And of course he did. I think on issue number 3, I was like, Heroes in Crisis was an abomination from the very first page. Nothing made sense in it. The idea of sanctuary made no sense. No, the way they portrayed mental health issues and mental health care was just atrocious. Yes, let's take somebody who's experiencing PTSD and isn't in a good state of mind and not let them ever talk to people. Yeah, that'll be really healthy. Like, what the hell do you come up with this? It's the dumbest idea that all these superheroes need unsupervised mental health care at a private facility that records all their conversations but immediately deletes them for no reason.
With the villains. While the villains are doing, you just imagine Killer Croc in line with you know, Green Arrow. You know, wait, is it your turn yet? Oh no, it's my turn. Okay. You know,
and the body count on that, you know, we killed off Roy Harper, we killed off the Legacy and the Hope of Rebirth and Wally West. Like Narc was in there. Like, who gives a crap about that? There's this, and Wally West went to the future to kill himself. And, oh my, just
and Harley defeating the Holy Trinity of DC by herself.
And that wasn't just it. Like the 9-panel grids where you got Hal Jordan asking, I don't even know what Will is. And
the guy that defined Will. You know that.
Let's see if we can destroy every character while we're in one comic book. Good job, Tom King. You damn near succeeded.
Whew. Came really, really close. It was so close, but not close enough because the bottom 2 actually have permanently damaged their heroes. And we probably will disagree on which one is worse and which one's next to worst. But I've got Superman at number 2. Because, and I almost put it at number 1, but I put Superman at number 2. I've mentioned this many times before on the Comic Aficionados, but my dad is like the biggest Superman fan in the world. Started buying Superman comics in 1962. 63 around there. Had unbroken run of Superman. He went out every single month to go and buy Superman comics at the dime store, and he would go and get his comics and loved them, preserved them. He quit Superman this year. He dropped it because of how awful Bendis is,
and why wouldn't
Bendis has done. And why wouldn't he? Because this is the low water mark in the 80 years of the Man of Steel.
So yeah, so he went through and he turned Superman, the greatest hero in the history of comic books, into a subservient beta male who can't have a voice when he's around his wife, who lets his wife, as far as he knows, cheat on him, who lets his psychotic father take his son into space, and his wife leave him because she needs a story. Doesn't really put up a fight on that one. When his son comes back and he's been tortured for 7 years, you know, he's like, oh, I can't do nothing about it. He turned him into a deadbeat father, a piece of crap husband, and a superhero nobody should look up to. And he should probably just be sent into a Kryptonian, a sun full of kryptonite just to destroy him forever, because no one likes the Superman anymore. All the hard work that was put into it, character's been completely destroyed.
He needs to be in the Phantom Zone. He needs to be consigned for the rest of his existence to the Phantom Zone to think about what he's done. And Bendis should go with him.
Absolutely.
And it's tragedy. It's the destruction of the most heralded, oldest character in comics, one of the most beloved, if not the most beloved character in comics. And I just don't know how it's going to be fixed. I can think of about a dozen different ways that it could be, but it's going to take time. There are customers that are never going to come back. They're never going to trust DC Comics again with this character. And, you know, I've went from selling 35, 40 issues back with the New 52 and the beginning of Rebirth to selling 4, 5 now. I wasn't selling any in a month for a long time. And then finally we got new customers in and they wanted to get Superman. So God help them. God
the worst
have mercy on their souls.
Going on DC Daily, like on his fucking high horse, talking about, oh, people just don't understand what I'm doing with Superman. It's going to be great. And people are going to apologize at me in the end. Fuck you. I ain't apologizing for shit because you ruined a great character. You ruined a great family. And you need to get your ass out of DC Comics. You need to get your ass out of comics. I don't know. Should he be writing fluffer pieces for Pornhub or something? He shouldn't be writing anything for anybody. He shouldn't even work for Pornhub. He ain't got that much skill.
Right. I couldn't get off listening to anything Bendis wrote. You know, it's just I don't care who's you know the actors in it. You know, just, no. The worst, Batman.
Oh, absolutely. Easily the worst. And before we get started on this, I just wanted to say that to the dude in my comments that said that I was a mouth breather because I didn't understand Batman, and you are a stupid kid. I understand everything about Batman. I've been reviewing the series for an entire year. Tom King is the one that doesn't understand Batman, and you, sir, didn't want to read a Batman comic. You wanted to read a Tom King comic. And as far as I'm concerned, that dude makes a shitty superhero, and he can get the fuck out of here too.
Yes, absolutely. This is not Batman. This is not even a deconstruction of Batman. It was a destruction of Batman. And
it's Tom King's fantasy comic about him being the Batman and how he would crumble under the pressure because he is a weak-willed person, unlike Bruce Wayne, who would never act like such a bitch.
Just imagine Tom King's daddy issues. His own issues with his father, if he imagined Batman and the Thomas Wayne narrative, their relationship. Oh my God.
I don't know. The worst part about it is the whole making Selena kind of his sister. So I don't even want to imagine that either. It's a Freudian nightmare is what that is.
Yeah, it is. Then you've got the whole stupid thing with Gotham Girl with, you know, the KOing Captain Atom, a character that's every bit as powerful as Superman, you know, and a lot of writers have written him that way. He is a analog to Superman, only in the cosmic sense. And I can tap into my life energy, and have these superpowers. I'll tell you what, there's not a million people in the world that had enough life energy in them to knock out Captain Atom. I'm sorry, there isn't. He is an Omega level character, and he's like a bitch. He got knocked out like a bitch, and by that little girl, laying in his hospital bed. That girl, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. And it's like, oh, great, wonderful, thank you. You destroyed another Kirby character to fluff your own ego. You mega maniacal narcissistic twat.
Yeah, so the Nightmare story arc, of course, is the nadir of the series. It's the worst story arc I've ever read in anything. It was 8 issues of fucking gibberish about nothing. And then we finally get to City of Bane. It's going to be worth it. If you didn't like the wedding, you're going to love City of Bane. I'm going to make it up to you. Bane's barely even in the story. He's not even the main villain. No. Who gives a shit? By the end of it, he's gotten Thomas Wayne so wrong. He's gotten Damian Wayne wrong. He's gotten the entire roster of Robins wrong. He's completely destroyed any ability for me to ever enjoy Catwoman again. Talk about a character I loathe now. I didn't really care. I didn't care either way. If you wanted to have Catwoman, who cares? I don't ever want to see the goddamn character again. She sucks. Yeah. She should never be in a Batman comic again. He's absolutely ruined that character, ruined Batman, ruined Gotham. He's ruined everything.
Yeah, it's what, she's a prostitute now. She always was a prostitute. Even the time that she was with Bruce and all those guys, she was actually working. But that's cool. That's all wonderful and good and everything like that, because Bruce apparently doesn't like everybody else's sloppy seconds. I guess that's what these writers are into. Bendis and King. They like the idea of
I have no idea about that. I didn't see that in the comic.
Oh God, it's just, and then the wonderful strippers, male strippers in the Fortress of Solitude, that just crystallizes, and that's where that's the convergence.
Archie artist for a fucking Batman comic.
Yeah, the convergence there of Superman with Lois Lane and Catwoman, Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn in the Fortress of Solitude with male strippers, and because they're just whores. It just, that's it. Okay, women, the SJW is portraying all women as whores because, it's my sexual liberation. Well, it's not good when guys do it, and it's certainly not good when women do it.
All I know is nobody had a worse year than Tom King. Everyone ended up hating Heroes in Crisis, except for his little fanboys and sycophants, the ones that come into my comments like, "Oh, you fucking mouth breather." Oh yeah. I'm a mouth breather because I can actually read a comic and be like, "Oh, this is dog shit." But it's one of those guys. He completely destroyed Batman. He dropped the sales by fucking 50%. They went from 120,000 down to 80,000 on a twice monthly book. So that's 80,000 a month total. Completely made an ass of himself, and of course he's going to ruin Adam Strange neck and Strange Adventures, and I'm sure that's Catwoman fine. And whatever, Catwoman, Batman, Catman, whatever it's going to be, is going to be just as shitty as everything that he wrote in 2019.
Fuck you, Tom.
We don't have time for that. We're 23 minutes into it.
Go ahead. Your list. Go ahead.
Well, so the only things I had in Leviathan, I had J.J. Abrams' Spider-Man, but
okay,
we're out of time. We've talked enough shit about the terrible comics at Marvel and DC. As great of a year as it was with Doomsday Clock, Hawkman, House of X, Powers of 10, Daredevil's great. There are some absolute stinkers out there, and and so for every great series, there's at least 3 or 4 bad ones. And make sure don't just go out there buying everything, because you're going to buy a lot of shit.
You're right about J.J. Abrams too. That's one that I didn't consider. I didn't think about, but yeah, I mean that I don't think it damaged Spider-Man on a. I think
it damaged C.B. Cebulski's reputation for coming out and
damaged C.B. Cebulski
announcement
Yeah. This is the announcement of the year. We're going to have Rick Moranis Jr. write a comic book with his surrogate dad. Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
Terrible comic, but nothing as egregious what Tom King or Brian Bendis did. So
no, not
Pele. Even. Thank you very much for joining me today. Talking about the worst comics of 2019. We're on the
welcome.
bigger things in 2020, and I really appreciate it.
It was a cathartic release. You know, it helped me deal with my damage and my pain for the year. It was
all
good.
right, man.
It was good.
Just don't touch yourself.
No, not now. Not right now. Not right now. Maybe later.
Later.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.